Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Marvel Studios assembled the making of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. It's a very long title. It's easy to just say it's making Quantumania because look how tiny Quantumania is right there. Can you see the words Ant-Man and the Wasp? It's like microscopic. It's not even readable at right here. It's so small. Like, who puts the names of the characters that small? Like Captain America Civil War. I'm pretty sure Captain America maybe wasn't as tall of a font as Civil War, but Captain America, you kind of want to put big Iron Man, big. Why Ant-Man and the Wasp got hidden? I don't know. I mean, Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, the major stars in this. Not to mention Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas. Sure, absolutely, but he can't. Those are two Ant-Mans and two Wasps. So you'd think that maybe the font would be a little bit bigger. I don't know. But this is the making of the film. I'm not talking about the film itself. So, although I'm going to still talk about the film. We've already reviewed it on a previous episode way back when. But yeah, this is, to be honest, it is one of the most maligned films in the entire MCU. And I get it. It's not as bad as some people make it out to be. That is a low bar, but it's there. This film was meant to be a launching point for the new phase, to a certain degree, the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, setting up Kang as the next major Avengers villain. Yeah, there's a lot going into this film. Peyton Reed is the director. It's the third Ant-Man film he made. It's a Ant-Man trilogy of a film that originally was supposed to be done by Edgar Wright of Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and in World's End fame, amongst many other things like Baby Driver and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. He was originally supposed to do the Ant-Man film and dropped out at the last minute. Well, at least a year or two before, but it was a build-up that had been talked about at Comic-Con for years and went away. Peyton Reed picked it up, know him from Pixar, and Paul Rudd has always been a solid part of this franchise and a great choice for this character. This is, when it comes to Marvel films, they all have an element of humor. He's one of those guys, though, who makes it pretty much a comedy, but also, a heartfelt family type film. Is a man who's trying to do right by his family, and there's also plenty of other family struggles between Hope and her dad, Hank, and then, of course, Mom coming into the picture in the previous film. This one explaining where she's been the whole time. But without going into the film plot, I can actually talk about the plot in this more openly than I would when I'm reviewing the film itself, mainly because why would you be watching me talk about the making of, and why would you be watching the making of before watching the film itself? You're going to get a rosy colored version of this film by the people who made it either way. Whether the film's good or bad, you're going to get a positive spin. And I gotta say, it's like I said, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. There are some pretty great elements throughout. Unfortunately, the notoriously rushed digital effects process in this era of Marvel, coming out of the pandemic and everything else, kind of shows. It shows. And as much as I love the character of MODOK and bringing into it, and how they also just they lean into the comedy a lot. Like I said, it's a Paul Rudd film, and he can do drama absolutely, but you want to see Paul Rudd make you laugh. And pretty much any world breaking. This is a big scale event type of film, but it's also reduced to just some silly comedy at times, not the least of which is just the look of MODOK. I mean, to bring this into reality, we've seen him in animation, obviously seen him in the comics, but seeing him live action, excuse me, in the way he's rendered, does, it's still unsettling. It's still unsettling. And the comedy that undercuts his look, I realize is meant to bolster the way he looks, to go, oh, you know what? Yes, he looks very strange, but it's funny, right? Is kind of the intent there. And it's supposed to, justify it. We've seen some pretty weird stuff in the MCU, and, you this is just one more thing, right? Unfortunately, this is the kind of thing that, I mean, if he's going to show up anywhere, it's going to show up in the quantum realm, where it's just filled with weirdness. It's not the negative zone, which we're going to probably see the negative zone in not too far into the future. But that's it's the thing that I think has left a lot of people a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Nothing against Corey. I think his name's Corey. Yeah, Corey Stoll. Nothing against him at all. He's great, but it kind of, the part of it kind of undermines the picture. And I realize with all the heavy stuff going on, you kind of need a comedy release. It just, I don't know. It didn't hit for me. It didn't hit for everybody. But then again, this making of is I'm not going to talk about the movie. I already have an episode for that. The making of this is what you get normally with any of these documentaries. The making of the costumes, the sets. They use the volume just like they do in The Mandalorian and Ahsoka and all the Star Wars things. They shot it in England? Did they shoot it in England or did they shoot it in Atlanta? I'm pretty sure they shot it in Atlanta. They used to shoot the films just down the road from me. Iron Man, Thor. Well, Captain America. Parts of them, anyway. Long before the volume. But they shoot this, all the quantum realm stuff is all done within the volume, which is there's massive screens that sort of just build the world, shoot the world around the characters in real time, and it looks fantastic rather than having a digital background. There's certainly tons of digital effects throughout this. Again, much to some people's chagrin. But you can't help it. In a world like this, you're just not going to do an over amount of practical stuff beyond costumes. And even the costumes sometimes were digital. We get to see, the talk of the creation of characters beyond costumes and sets and things like that. The creation of costumes, the choices they made with certain people, bringing in people from previous Ant-Man films that play completely different characters. Dave, I say his last name wrong every time. David Dastmalchian. Yeah, Dastmalchian. Yeah. He plays Veb. We get a number of familiar faces. We get William Jackson. William Jackson Harper from The Good Place playing Quaz, and of course the biggest guest star of all, which they kind of explain why he was in the film, why they picked him for this role, Bill Murray, and how they dressed him, and how they just got him to play one of the most obscure characters. Yes, it came from a comic many, many years ago. How they made him the most obscure character possible. But yeah, go find that first appearance. You'll be rich. This one mainly focuses around Cassie Lang, one of the future Young Avengers. Stature, but she's not called Stature just yet. I'm not exactly a fan of that name, but we'll see what she ends up being. But she... we get to see what went into her choosing her as an actress, as playing the teenage version of Scott Lang's daughter. We've seen her when she was like 5, and many years have passed now. She's like 18, and she's getting in all sorts of trouble and butting heads with her dad. And her dad being a superhero, she kind of sees herself as wanting to do good, inspired by Dad, but doing something on a scale that's more than just punching out bad guys or using your power to shrink and grow. Well, she does use her power to shrink and grow. She does she's gotten a hold of some Pym particles with the help of certain people that have access to those things. So yeah, we get all of this, but film is basically we get to see how this film was going to, currently not anymore, probably, figure into the future of the MCU. Literally setting up the next chapter of the MCU with Kang as the big bad. Played by Jonathan Majors in the Loki series. We saw him there, and in a different version, a different variant of Kang. The one all the other Kangs and are all kind of in fear of. This is the guy who is a big deal, time traveler, knows about all of reality, and is smarter, more cunning than just about anybody else, except for maybe Doctor Doom, who his appearance has been bumped up and cast as Robert Downey Jr., as we discovered last summer at Comic-Con. So a lot of this is, we get to see some interviews with Jonathan Majors. We get to see footage from Comic-Con when they first talked about this film and the casting of it. And to me, it's just incredibly disappointing. I like Kang as a character. It's kind of sad to see them talking about elements of the MCU, while not always set in stone, are not going to happen now. More than likely. Now, Doom does have a time platform in the comics, and he has butted heads with Kang. They are kind of same level egos in a number of ways. And who is that person at the very end of Loki season 2 that has discovered Renslayer in the void? Who could that be? It ain't probably any version of Kang anymore. Or maybe it is. At least not the Jonathan Majors version of Kang. I like Jonathan Majors as an actor. All of his other drama, if you don't know what it is, I'm not going to go into it. All of his personal drama should not ever have a bearing on what's going on with his obvious acting skills. I just hate that we're not going to see more of that character in this incarnation. There's an entire possibility that Kang can be completely recast. He's all about variance. He could be a potato in a different reality. A sentient potato. Time-traveling, conquering potato. You don't know. Or an alligator, like Loki. You never know. But it doesn't mean that another actor can take his slot. So we get to see the inner workings of not just his costuming and the character, the development of this version of the character, and the excitement people had for what was to come with this character. And we get a kind of a peek at what could have been. Again, Marvel's never too open about what they have planned, but you get an inkling of where this was going. Unless somehow all is made good and things come, everybody's, redeemed in some way. Everybody meaning Jonathan Majors. We're not going to see this version of Kang. That's a lot of words to say. This is your last chance to see Jonathan Majors as Kang. It is with any of these documentaries. If you love this behind the scenes stuff, which I do, I love seeing how it gets made. I once had the opportunity, I got invited to be in the set of Thor: The Dark World in London, and I did not have a passport at the time, and I regret that so much. I like how these things are made up, as much as I even don't like spoilers. I know that being on a set for something like this would be super spoilerific. But because they invite press every so often to do that. Yeah, it's sad. But hey, if you love Paul Rudd, if you love to see some behind the scenes interactions with the actors, some bloopers, not a blooper reel or anything, but there's some bloopery things peppered throughout, and you got to know that Paul keeps it light and funny and fun. And yeah, I how this all pans out in the future. Let's just say some storylines might die or just get diminished as a result of this film and the everything that fell out from it. So I'm just saying that we probably, if we see MODOK again, I imagine we're going to see him better, better looking, better rendered, I should say. Not that Corey Saul's an unattractive man. I'm just saying better rendered. He needs to be a bit more menacing. Not. I did like a lot of the stuff that just made Michelle Pfeiffer's Janet Van Dyne character and Kang's character that much more complex and scary. But this film, I think, is worth. I think if you watch this, you might give the film another chance. It's not gonna suddenly go from a 4 to a 10 in your mind, but you might have a better appreciation for the film. So definitely, if you're into these documentaries, check it out. But I'm feeling that you're not going to just suddenly become the biggest fan. I hate saying negative things about Marvel stuff because I like, just like Star Wars Galaxy, I love swimming around in that world. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. If you're new to this is how I do things. At the end of each episode, the last 2 episodes were pre-picked because, well, sort of pre-picked. Not really. The 2000th episode was picked. 64, by the way. They sometimes when there's something new or if it's a big anniversary kind of thing, their rules change a bit. But each episode normally is done with this random number picker, which 64 correlates to a spreadsheet that I have that has everything that's on Disney Plus that I haven't watched yet. And 64 correlates to, I don't know what this, I know what this is. Nope, wait, 64, right? 64, okay. I was looking at 63. 63 was a K-drama. But 64 is yet another one of our documentaries. I do not know what this is, if it's a series or if it's just a single one-off kind of thing. It's usually red-colored stuff is a documentary or a reality type of show. But we'll find out when we watch Fur Babies. Yeah. I imagine cute animals are involved. Maybe. Furry babies. Fur Babies is what we're watching next in the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.